Hello, everyone. This is Angela Frobis. I want to welcome you to today's virtual open house for Suffolk University's online MBA program. Before we start here, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. During the webinar, please feel free to type your questions into the Q&A box as you think of them. But just note that we have reserved some time to answer your questions at the end of the webinar, so do stick around until the end for that Q&A. If for some reason you're not able to do that, please note that we are recording this webinar. So if you find that you do need to hop off for any reason before the conclusion of the webinar, you'll have access to the recording where your questions will be answered. We have a fantastic virtual open house here lined up for you today, and we'll be covering all things Suffolk Online MBA, from what the online MBA is, some of the student and technology services offered, how you can stay connected as a student, the admissions requirements, and of course, the Q&A at the end that I had mentioned. Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our program. What I'd like to do is just cover our agenda for our conversation today in the virtual open house. First and foremost, we're just going to go over an introduction of your team. We'll then have Jodi, our program director, dive deeper into the MBA program, giving you some insight into our curriculum, outcomes, and then we'll talk about student support and services. With this being a 100% online MBA, certainly we want to talk to you about the technologies and services there. We'll then go and discuss the admissions requirements, application process, answer any questions that you might have, and then we'll discuss how you can connect with an admissions counselor and discuss further the program and next steps. So let's go ahead and introduce your team that you'll be working with here at Suffolk. Our senior program specialists for the online MBA include myself. My name is Angela Frobis. I'm one of the senior program specialists here for the online MBA. Just a little bit of background information about me. I have my bachelor's degree in marketing. I have a master's degree in industrial and organizational psychology with a graduate certificate in organizational effectiveness. I have been in online educational adult learning and recruiting as well as management for over 17 years. You'll also be working with Thomas Nunez. He is also a senior program specialist here for the online MBA. Great guy, great coworker. He currently has his bachelor's degree in business administration from Columbia College, and he's been in education, recruiting, and management for over 10 years. So we have a lot of experience to help and support you through your journey here at Suffolk. Next, I am honored to introduce our MBA Program Director here at Suffolk, Dr. Jodi Detjen. She is an accomplished organizational consultant and educator with a foundation in operational change management. In addition to being the MBA Program Director here at Suffolk, Jodi is also the managing partner of Orange Grove Consulting, a firm that focuses on organizational inclusion. She has worked in organizational development for over 25 years, transforming the way people work at small and large companies. And she specializes in designing top-tier inclusive leadership training, consults and runs workshops for clients, and is a highly sought-after speaker and writer for organizations. And we are incredibly grateful to have her lead the MBA program here at Suffolk. Now that you've met the Suffolk MBA team, let's introduce you to Suffolk and Sawyer Business School. Suffolk University is regionally credited by the New England Commission of Higher Education. When you graduate from Suffolk University, you join a proud alumni community of more than 80,000 members who span the globe and are innovators and leaders in their fields. Suffolk alumni are deeply invested in the success of today's graduates and have been since our establishment in 1906, here right in Boston, Massachusetts. Our mission statement is important because it brings light to what we do and why we do it. At Suffolk University, we are driven by the power of education, of inclusion, and engagement to change lives and positively impact communities. Committed to excellence, we provide you with experiential and transformational learning opportunities that begin here in the U.S., but have a global outreach and lead to extraordinary outcomes for you, not only after you graduate, but also while you're pursuing your degree here with us. Our core values are important to define for us as it establishes ideals and really provides the foundation for building the type of atmosphere we want to foster here at Suffolk University. These standards also offer a way of thinking about which educational philosophies or initiatives Suffolk supports. We're very much student-centered. Our small class sizes allow for personal mentoring relationships with faculty and staff. We want to make sure to help you build your confidence and empower you to become successful contributors to your community locally and globally. We have a scholarly and professional focus and excellence. Our faculty are practitioners of their scholarly knowledge and bring that real world connection into the classroom, not only in collaborative discussions, but also in feedback to your assignments. We believe in a teaching model here at Suffolk that fosters academic freedom, collaboration, and the exchanging of ideas, and developing knowledge and skills that are practical and relevant to your industry, regardless of your location. One of the things that you will continue to hear about here at Suffolk is our focus in community engagement. We understand that regardless of your area of study, as you further your education, you're giving yourself tools to impact not only your life and family, but your community as well. At Suffolk University, you will immediately feel the impact of our beliefs behind integrating civic engagement and service with your curriculum. By doing so, it helps foster the development of our students in continuing to become responsible global citizens and doing so ethically, professionally, and globally. Now that you've learned a little bit about Suffolk University, let's go ahead and introduce you to Sawyer Business School. Here at Sawyer Business School, we have more than 100 faculty members, 3,000 students, and 27,000 alumni around the world. We embrace evolving business practices and value innovative thinkers. In 2001, a newly appointed Dean William J. O'Neill Jr. established a global focus across the school to help our students compete in the rapidly changing global marketplace. And over the years, our student body has increased and diversified to include individuals from around the world. We foster transformative experiences that cultivate global-minded citizens who advance knowledge, lead positive change, and create value for society. Our strategic objectives include global business, to highlight the contemporary global business environment on all the programs that we offer. Also includes career success, to invest heavily in the careers of our students and to optimize the mix of skills and experiences that can contribute to future career success. Another strategic initiative is our faculty excellence. This is to sustain an excellent and diverse faculty whose work and influence within and beyond the classroom supports our global vision. And lastly, program relevance. Our focus here is to develop and maintain relevant, cutting-edge programs and alliances informed by the latest ideas and management practices. So, you've learned about Sawyer School. Let's learn about our program director and our online MBA. Next, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our wonderful program director, Dr. Jodi Detjen. Jodi?
The Suffolk MBA is built in Boston and built for business. So let me go through what our MBA program looks like so that you can see the depth of the experience that we provide. Our curriculum covers 4 main areas. First, we'll contextualize the MBA. So you'll understand the role of Boston, the role of clusters, and how these economic approaches really help us and help businesses really go global. We'll then look at business fundamentals. Business fundamentals are, of course, how you run the business, marketing, operations, accounting, and these are core pieces to every leader's approach to how they run the business. We'll look at the big picture, the strategy aspects, and then we'll talk about something unique in the Suffolk MBA, how you can manage change in this environment that is ubiquitous with change. So let's do a deeper dive. What do I mean by contextualize? We have 3 main classes that you would be taking. The first one is this idea of world-class clusters. If you look at what's happening globally, what's happening is that organizations are located or co-located in certain areas, and this creates this hub of activity and this cross-fertilization of information and approach. So Boston is one of those areas. We have 4 main clusters. We have finance, we have biotech, healthcare, and technology. So you will be grounded in this idea and this approach and understand what this looks like for you and for your career. You'll also be taking a leadership course where you'll understand what leadership means for you, what you're going to be doing for your career, and what it looks like and how the MBA program will help you reach your career goals. Thirdly, you'll be taking an ethics course, and this ethics course will help you really understand the role of ethics and how ethics is imbibed and imbued across all of your decision-making as you think about your organization. Then, of course, we've got running the business, the core aspects, statistics, collaboration, innovation, and immersion. One of the things that's really interesting about the Suffolk MBA is we have this focus on collaboration and innovation. These are two key skills that are just ubiquitous in today's marketing and business areas. Collaboration means how do you work in teams in a way that's effective, both looking at an inclusive angle as well as thinking about how to run remote teams. Teams and collaboration are essential to today's business. Innovation looks at how do we challenge thinking? How do we change our products? How do we think differently about the way we approach our work? Immersion is another area that is unique to the Suffolk MBA. With immersion, you will work with an international company and you will look at how do we actually think about and help them solve whatever business challenge that they're working with. For example, one of the classes that I taught, we worked with a startup organization in Mexico City that was looking to disrupt the car buying process using an app and figuring out how to make that process more intuitive, easier, and less bureaucratic. They were using that as a springboard to go global with their app. You also have the option to take one of our immersion courses. We have immersion courses at Silicon Valley. That's the one I lead. Las Vegas, Germany, London, South America, China. We've got all sorts of options, and you have the option of taking one of those courses and doing a deep dive of that location and understanding how the world-class clusters for that particular location, what they look like and how they operate. Then one of the key components to an MBA program is this idea to think strategically. I always talk about the fact that prior to an MBA, people keep their head down and they do their work. But what an MBA does is helps you raise your head up and really look at the big picture. We actually do this in two ways. We look at this from the global connections. What does your company mean globally? Even companies that are based here solely in the United States have to think of the global implications, because if you're manufacturing something, many of the product components are being manufactured internationally. We also have worldwide customer access now. So global connections are key to almost every business. And then secondly, we'll do world-class strategies where you'll get to compete with other companies and other teams nationally and run a company throughout the semester and really see how you do compared to others in your class. The final area is leading and implementing change, something that's unique to the Suffolk MBA. Here we teach you how to lead change and knowing that change is actually a process that is ubiquitous across American businesses and globally. And we understand how change works. You will learn how it works. And then you can apply it to your businesses so that you can see how you can manage change more effectively and not just let it happen randomly. It's actually something that you can manage. You also have 4 electives. One of those electives is a business analytics course that you can take in your functional area of choice. Or you have 3 other electives. And in these electives, you can actually choose to concentrate, which I'll talk about in just a minute. You'll have a wrap-up ethics course where you'll actually think about all the ethical dilemmas, questions that arose across your MBA, and define your own framework for ethical decision-making. So your job here is to really bring everything that you've learned across the MBA together and then figure out how it's going to best apply to you. Our concentrations are designed to be of value to you. We have one in finance. We have a general one, so you get to dabble in multiple functional areas. We have accounting, business intelligence, which is like business analytics, and health sector management. So you can choose the area that makes most sense for your career, or you can take a combination of courses to allow you to have a more broad base. So your choice on concentrations allows you the flexibility to focus in an area that makes the most sense for your career objectives. Concentrations are an area that you can use to deepen your knowledge and deepen your understanding and show some specialization as you go out and get a raise, as you get a promotion, or as you change careers. One of the key differentiators with the Suffolk MBA is your opportunity to be a consultant on day 1. Across the program, you will work with 7 to 10 different companies or more. And during this, in each of your classes, each of your main core classes, you will be actually running a project. You will be challenged to answer a question from a client and figure out within your team how best to answer that. And then you'll be presenting back to that client in the context of your course content to figure out, what does this look like? And how can we best help this company solve their problem? The cool thing about being a consultant is that what you're doing is you're practically applying the lessons and skill sets that you've learned across the MBA in each one of these situations. So at the end of the MBA, the story that you can tell is one that you've worked with 7 to 10 different companies, that you've thought about real challenges, that you know the challenges and what shows up and how to overcome them. Your story that you can tell as a result of this experience is richer and deeper. Let me give you some examples of companies that we've worked with. There was a biotech manufacturing company, and they were really trying to figure out, how do we keep manufacturing here in Massachusetts? Because there was a lot of competition nationally and even internationally. And they wanted to figure out how to keep that knowledge, that skill set, and those companies here in Massachusetts. Another one was a large nonprofit was trying to figure out how they can leverage national innovation capacity. So this nonprofit was trying to figure out, where is the best place for us to locate our innovation for biotech and healthcare, for example, for robotics, for app development that was directly aligned with their customer base. The third one was a large bank that was trying to figure out how they could grow their product base without having paid incentives to cross-sell. So they were trying to figure out how to sell without selling. And they were trying to do this in a way that was ethical, in a way that was understanding of the roles of the customer service agents, and understanding of all the different functional cross incentives that occurred. So it was a complex organizational project that enabled students to see how sometimes decisions have multiple impacts. There was also a real estate developer who was trying to figure out, how do we leverage the best use of space? They had this huge lot, and they wanted to figure out how they could create an innovation space that would create financial revenue, but also be a hub for a lot of future development. So students in each one of these cases had an opportunity to think deeply, to understand the project, to understand the customer's requirements, the challenge at hand, and then work together with research and teamwork to figure out solutions that made sense for the client. You can also get a certificate in business fundamentals. What this enables you to do is do a deep dive, but not really focused on the business fundamentals aspect, rather than do the entire MBA. So this is a useful alternative if you just want to understand business functions. If you are a new leader who did not grow up in business and don't understand or have some of the facility or vocabulary of how to do accounting or operations, this is for you.
Thank you so much, Jodi, for your insight and explanation on our online MBA curriculum, outcomes, and our certificate in business fundamentals. Now that you know about our program, let's talk about the different types of student services, support, and technologies that you're going to be working with as a student here at Suffolk. So as far as student support, we want to make sure that we're providing you all of the services that you need from beginning to end to help you be a successful student within your online MBA. Some of the resources that we're going to include here with your time at Suffolk is a writing center. Many of our students have been out of school for a while, so getting back into academic writing can be a little bit of a hurdle. So we do have writing tutors. We have multiple different types of tutors for different subject matters within the online MBA. Of course, we have a phenomenal career services department here at Suffolk, where you will have access from day one to multiple resources, events, workshops, technical resources, apps that you'll have access to that are going to help you be more successful through your MBA program, but also in the utilization of your MBA after you graduate as well. Some of the resources you'll have access to, one is Handshake. Many of our students are familiar with Handshake from their previous education. This is an all-in-one career management platform for students and alumni to search and apply for jobs, to sign up for career or recruiting events and make meetings with a career advisor. So you can actually set one-on-one meeting times with a career advisor. You can do that virtually. We also have something within our career services department called a resume guide to help you update your resume and teach you how to do the correct cover letter and how to customize your resume appropriately for opportunities and positions that may be opening in the future in all different types of industries that's focused on. We also have the utilization of something called Vault. Vault provides an industry-specific career information and resource. The key offerings include a profession and company overview, interviewing tips, and job and internship boards with personalized alerts. You may be familiar or have heard of LinkedIn Learning. This is a resource you will have access to as a student here at Suffolk. So LinkedIn Learning is where you can improve your professional value by developing business, technology-related, creative, or career-oriented skills. LinkedIn Learning is an online educational platform, and what it does is it provides over 9,000 expert-led course videos in these topics. You'll be able to create an account through your Suffolk utilizing your Suffolk email account that you'll receive once you're a student here. And lastly, I had mentioned this before, but we do offer workshops locally and some virtually as well. There are continuous workshops and events that we host throughout the year. These can be specific to industry. For example, we have healthcare panels, career and business analytics panels, and we even have broader workshops too that you'll have access to attending virtually or physically, where we'll teach you how to like negotiate your salary and how do you climb that career ladder that you're wanting to. So those are some things you'll have access to, right, through Career Services Department. Now, as far as IT, your program is 100% online, so it is very important that you have access to 24/7 technical support, which you will have access to while you're here. You'll have not only access to all the different portals and resources online here at Suffolk, but you'll also have 24/7 technical support to your Blackboard platform, which is your classroom. Finances are oftentimes the most stressful part of honestly going back to school. So you will have a designated financial aid advisor to help you plan out the best path in financing your education. You'll have a point of contact in the financial aid office that'll help you work through utilizing your FAFSA for graduate school. And if you're wanting to pay out of pocket or you're going to be utilizing tuition reimbursement or even military benefits, we do have support resources for you there within our Bursar's office. And lastly, our library services. So our ground campus students actually use our online library as well, but you'll have access to the online library 24/7 here at Suffolk. This means that you'll have access to books, to databases, to e-journals and research guides at the tip of your fingers and without having to worry to come to campus to find resources for your schoolwork. In addition to this, you will have the support of our library staff. Monday through Friday, you will have access to chatting with them, emailing them, or even setting up one-on-one phone conversations with them where they can support you in your research. Again, there's a lot of databases and information within our library that you're going to have access to, so it can get a little bit overwhelming. So we have librarians that are designated to walk you through that process. So are there many different additional technologies you're going to be utilizing in your program, your classroom platform, some different types of applications, and also making sure that you have access to specifically Suffolk social media platforms to continue networking throughout your time and even after you graduate from your program. So let's talk about some of these. First and foremost, Blackboard. So Blackboard is your classroom. Blackboard is a web-based learning management system, otherwise known as an LMS, that is designed to support fully online courses or provide a space for face-to-face course supplementation. You will have live classes in this program in the evening. So we want to make sure to have a platform where that can be housed and where you can successfully view that and it be user-friendly. Our faculty and students can access Blackboard courses anytime, anywhere from any browser as long as you have Wi-Fi. Blackboard supports various medias for accessing engaging content such as audio and video, like YouTube videos, for enriched lectures to create more of an enriching and engaging learning experience. We have discussions and journal interactive tools which allow you to engage with the content more creatively. School has to be fun, right? Even though it's online, we want to make sure it's interactive. We want to make sure it's fun for you. Blackboard is a great platform to allow that to happen. Also, Blackboard does have an app, so you can download the app, which is designed especially for students to view content and participate in courses. The app is available on your iPhone or your iOS or your Windows mobile devices. Keep in mind, it's not advised that you attend classes 24/7 through your tablets, your mobile devices. We really do recommend having a laptop or a desktop computer to do your work. But when in a pinch, you're wanting to check your grades or wanting to email your professor or classmates, certainly you can do so downloading the app, which it's very user-friendly, very intuitive way to interact with courses and the content. It can be used throughout your time here at Suffolk University and allow you to just stay on top of your coursework, plan ahead. You can access your calendar and everything within Blackboard and stay organized. Next is SU on the Go. So SU on the Go is a mobile application which is designed for Suffolk University students, faculty, and our staff. This is a free mobile application which provides you access to many great resources like accessing your courses, checking in on your grades. If you're near campus and you want a campus tour, click on the campus map. You'll have access also to important numbers, directory information. You can also access any financials as well as transcripts and proof of degree should you need it in the future. My Suffolk, or what I call My Suffolk Student Portal, is the university's portal for students, faculty, and staff. You can access My Suffolk email, registration, and Blackboard learning system, and other online tools and communities from here. So this is kind of your one-stop shop as a student. You can access Blackboard, you can access your school email, your records, events, so on and so forth through this site. Whether it's academics, campus life, or alumni events, you can explore the view from Sawyer Business School. Also via our latest tweets, posts, and videos. Let's talk a little bit about how to stay connected and networking. So networking and staying connected is so important, right? Especially in an online MBA program. We never want you to feel like you're disconnected because your courses are being taken virtually. We want to make sure that you still feel a part of campus, that you have access to resources to help you network and stay connected, and we have multiple ways of doing that. Obviously, first and foremost, you're going to have access to that networking and staying connected through your class. You're going to have access to phenomenal career services, which I had previously gone over. We also have a very strong presence in social media. If you'd like to join us now, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and you can actually search us on YouTube too. We have some great videos on YouTube to give you some insight into Sawyer Business School. So we've gone over the entire program, right? We've talked about Suffolk, we've talked about Sawyer School, we've talked about our online MBA and resources. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the admissions requirements. What's next? What does that look like? So as far as the application process or admissions process, I first and foremost think it's very important to note there is no GMAT or GRE requirement for this program. Okay. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to apply. You're going to fill out the online application. It takes about 10 minutes to fill out that form. And then you're going to upload your resume, most recent resume. You're then going to be working with your enrollment advisor in regards to completing a goal statement. You will need 1 to 2 letters of professional or academic recommendation. There are no personal letters of recommendation allowed with this program. Next, you will be requesting transcripts from all schools that you have received a degree from. So all degree-bearing official transcripts and any unofficial transcripts from any other school that was not degree-bearing. So let's say you went to a community college and you completed 15 credit hours and then transferred to a university. You're still going to need to show proof of those at least unofficial transcripts from that community college. If you do not have unofficial transcripts, you will need to order officials. Just to be very clear, transcripts from all schools are required. Officials from degree-bearing schools are required, and at least unofficials from all non-degree-bearing schools. Hopefully that makes sense. Next, there is a video essay. This is a 2-minute video essay that you're going to complete. We want to make sure that's professional, professionally dressed, presented well, good lighting. It's going to support and just be kind of an extension of your goal statement. And lastly, there is a $50 application fee. This is waived for veterans, current military, and or Suffolk alumni. Now that we've covered the admissions process here at Suffolk, let's go ahead and talk about some important deadlines. Right now, we are still currently accepting applications for our upcoming fall term. Our fall term here at Suffolk begins on Tuesday, September 7th, and the last day to apply for that fall term will be Tuesday, August 17th. So if you've decided that this program is a great fit for you and you'd like to apply, please note that the first step is actually to connect with one of the senior program specialists, to reach out and schedule some time so we can have a conversation with you and make sure you qualify for admissions into the program, make sure we're setting you up for success and answer any remaining and outlying questions, and also so that we can provide you with the support that we pride ourselves in providing to our students throughout the admissions process. So the next steps are to reach out to our admissions team. There are multiple ways to connect with us here at Suffolk. First and foremost, on our screen here, you'll see that there is a number you can call, the 888-866-6168 number. Also, if you go onto our website, online.suffolk.edu, you'll find some general information. We're going to provide you with more. You will also find a feature called Live Chat, where we will instigate a chat conversation if you're interested, and you can ask questions that way. There is a Visita appointment scheduled. So if you go on our website, that online.suffolk.edu, and you scroll a little bit ways down, you'll see where it says schedule an appointment with an advisor. If you click on that, what that does is that gets you to our Outlook calendar. You'll see all of our availability, and you can schedule a time that works best for you. We are here Monday through Friday, and we do have evening hours. We are here as late as 7 o'clock in the evening. Now, per my first slide that I had introduced this presentation with, I had mentioned that at the end of our presentation, we would be addressing questions that you might have. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's cover some of the questions that students have been presenting throughout this presentation, and maybe we weren't answering one-on-one, and also some that you might find valuable and pertaining to you. Maybe you don't know what you don't know. So let's go through those questions, make sure those get answered. And then I'm going to get real, and I'm going to become live here, I believe. Can everybody see me? Can you see me, Jodi?
Yes, I can, Angela. Can you see me?
Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
everybody.
I can. Hello, everyone. So hopefully everybody that has been here with us has gotten a good sense of our program. We had some great questions coming in through the chat that I wanted to save for Jodi and for me in admissions, so I can answer these questions. And Jodi, we'll just go, if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and start asking some of the questions. So one of the questions was in regards to the live client sessions, that consulting piece.
Yes.
As far as a lot of the examples that were given in our presentation today were Boston-based organizations and leaders. Do we work with clients outside of the Boston area?
Yes, of course. There's because we're based in Boston, a lot of our network is based in Boston. So we have the Boston base. And one of the things I think is really important is that the Boston-based organizations we choose are representative of organizations that are typical in that industry. Mm-hmm. I think, but we have clients from all over. We've had clients from Canada. We do a lot of global clients. We've had clients from across the United States. So I would say, I think I'm trying to remember my latest statistic. I think it's about 65% of the clients are Boston-based, but a large percentage of those are multinationals. So have offices in other locations as well. You'll get about 45%, I believe, are global clients. So those are two separate statistics. So that's why they don't add up to 100. So you get a wide variety. And then we have literally all different types of functions and industry sectors represented. So you'll get finance, you'll get biotech, you'll get healthcare, everything that I was talking about, as well as nonprofit and startups. So you just get a wide variety. You're not going to have the same thing that you're doing now time and time and time again.
And that's, I make that a point when I'm talking to students to remind them that you're never going to deal with the same client and the same problem more than once, which is really cool because it diversifies what you're learning, right? And how you're applying what you're learning. This is kind of still related to live client sessions, but other than the live client sessions, how else do students and faculty stay in communication with each other? A lot of our students, when we're having our conversations in admissions, talk about how important feeling connected and being able to feel supported by faculty is. How does this program center around that?
I think this is one thing that is really differentiated about Suffolk's online program. A lot of the online programs that you'll take from other universities are virtual, right? They're all asynchronous, which means you do not have contact with your professor except via email.
Right.
Ours aren't. So in a 7-week session, you will likely meet with that professor a minimum of 3 to 4 times. So that gives you the opportunity to meet with them in the class time that you're assigned, but then
all of our faculty are available at all different times. They hold office hours. They open up, for example, when I teach an online class, I'm like, send me an email. I'm available whenever. And we set up Zoom calls to talk with students. All of the professors meet with the teams. They'll do walkthroughs. You're getting a lot of high touch in this program. This is not your stereotypical online program. This is actually a very interactive program where you are meeting and working with people all throughout.
Absolutely. Well, and I think the other thing too is as far as that connection piece, and I've done this for a really long time, that for me, and when I talk to students about the program, that's something that is, not to sound cheap, but I'm really proud of, is that there is so much interaction. I think a lot of students who have done online have done a couple of courses here and there, and it was during summer and there was no connection and they felt kind of out in the desert and on an island type of thing. And there's so much interaction here.
Yeah.
And at first, when I started working with the program, I was like, people are not going to like this interaction. They're going to want this freedom and no required login tests. That's the part that students really enjoy, is that interaction and that support. So that's really cool.
In fact, what we hear sometimes is more.
Yes.
And if you want more, the professors usually do it. In fact, most professors that I work with they are there all 7 weeks, and about 3 are required and the other 4 are optional, but the professor's there all 7 weeks. So if you want to come all 7 weeks, you come all 7 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and I think while we're talking about this, I think it's important for those that are on with us just to make sure to touch base on the fact that any required login live times are in the evening. Like the faculty know that we're that we're working with full-time working adults. So I just want to make that point there. Let's see. Okay. This would be okay. So outside of the MBA classroom, the online MBA classroom, what other opportunities do students have to help them achieve their professional goals that they're setting for themselves?
Yeah, so I'm just so excited about what's going on. We've got a new person who's our liaison in the Career Center that we're working very, very closely with, Michelle Goldberg. You can actually see her video. There's a video. If you reach out to Angela, she can get you in touch with us so you can see it. You can go to the Career Center website. There are so many things that we're doing now to really help students get their career goals met. One of the things is one of your classes you're going to be taking is a career course. So it's, one of the first classes that you take when you start, and you spend, 1 credit focused on your career. There's plenty of opportunities to work with alumni. There's plenty of opportunities to get internships, to go practice interviewing, to practice how do I ask for a promotion, how do I ask for a raise, all these types of things. So there's plenty of opportunities and support. The other thing we're doing is, for the first time this year, we were supposed to do it last year, but COVID put us back. We're doing a all-day orientation that online students are invited to. And we're spending the entire morning on career, and people from the Career Center will be there. And then we have a second orientation on the 10th in the evening. And same thing, we're going to be working on strength finders, and the career services are going to be running with it. So we've got a lot of interaction. Plus, there are constantly webinars that we're running that are online. We've got events that are in person or online where you can connect and network. So what I always tell students is, the biggest mistake that I see students make is that they think it's all just about the scholastics.
Yeah, the classes.
And it's not. So much of your MBA program is about the connections that you make, but that means you have to put the time in. Nobody's going to force you to do it. You have to do it. And so if you're just going to rush through and just do your academics, that's fine. But the real power is the academics plus the extra bits that you do. And that's where we see students excel beyond belief.
I was going to say the same thing. Hold yourself accountable. It's just not about the classes and the coursework, for sure. Can you provide some insight? You had mentioned I think you mentioned an immersion experience. I know that is the travel seminar, right? So that was the verb, but I'm going to start using immersion experience. It sounds nicer. But as far as that immersion experience, can you give some insight into the value of that? And if possible, a little bit of the structure, I think, might be valuable too.
Yeah. So the thing about the immersion is that for you, it's an optional experience for you. So we have built in an online immersion. And so in that online immersion, you'll be working with an international company, and you'll be helping them really figure out whatever their challenge was. I ran the one that ran last spring, and we worked with this really cool company. It was a startup out of Mexico City, and they were trying to completely disrupt the car buying experience, which, as you can imagine, in Mexico City is very, very bureaucratic. And so they're trying to take a 21st century approach to it. fascinating. And, you know, we had 5 student groups and they were all working on it in different ways. And it was a really cool experience. We spent the entire semester with that client, and the entire class was really on that client project. So you get this chance to really look at it. That's part of every online, pure online if you want. You also have the option to replace that class with one of our immersion classes. Our immersion classes, pre-COVID, we went to China, went to Brazil, Germany. I run the one to Silicon Valley. We go to the largest product conference in the world in Las Vegas. We're creating a new one called looking at LGBTQ and Pride. So there's all sorts of opportunities. And what you do with these is you actually go to that location and you are immersed in that location. So if you're going to Germany, you're immersed in Germany, and you go to 2 different cities and you're working with, you know, Bayer and VW and all these other big companies, and you're doing these projects, and we call them flash consulting. So at the beginning of the day, the client will present to you the challenge. Sometimes they present it to you a couple of weeks before, sometimes it's the day of, and you and your team have to solve that problem. And you do that 4 days in a row. And so what ends up happening is you learn very rapidly how to analyze, how to leverage research, how to leverage your team, how to present in a way that's quite persuasive. So we look at this as the skill accelerator. That's how we think about that course. So you come in, you know, you start here with your MBA, you come into because this is the middle of your program, and it accelerates you to here. And they're just incredible courses. We are working out what this looks like this year due to COVID restrictions. We are definitely going to Vegas because that's open. Some of the other ones we're still working out. However, if you're just starting your program, that would not even be something that you'd be thinking about till 2023. We also go to Singapore. I forgot Singapore. I go to Singapore as well. And we've had online students join us and they love it. It's online or not, it is one of the most incredible experiences of your life. I love teaching that class.
Well, and I think what's nice too, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's only a week, right? Where you're going out internationally.
It's a week, yeah.
So it actually works really well for our full-time working students, where you can just use some vacation time, travel, get away from the kids, but also immerse yourself in something fun and educational and applicable to what you're learning. And also, this is for my clarification with these client projects, where the live client projects in each course are focused on the actual course content and applying what you're learning. The travel seminar, the immersion course, is more of a holistic application of what you're learning, right?
Absolutely. So you're applying, you're taking any tool that you've got, that you've learned across your MBA, and applying it to the particular situation. And it's designed to be intense so that you can learn.
Right.
You learn, you try, like a lot of students will say, you know, I wish I had done my day 4 skills and use this with my day for the day 1 client. Yeah, you grow so much. That's why I call it an accelerator. Yeah. And the other thing that I think is really cool, if you take this option, and because it does cost more money, that's why it's an optional piece, but students talk about the relationships that they build with their peers that are on that course. And it is just one of the best memories that students talk about. So it's really fun. I can
imagine, right? Under that much stress to like hurry up, define who's going to do what role to actually work together and cohesively. I mean, that makes quick friendships, right? You guys got to trust each other really quickly. So that's
and Angela, let me say one thing. We also do have fun. So for example, in Singapore, we did this. Oh my God, it was so incredible. So one night we did this food tour. We ate so much food, like literally by the last food tour, the people were upset that we didn't clean our plates because we were so full, but the food was absolutely amazing. We went to all these different neighborhoods in Singapore. And so it was fantastic.
Forget the client project, sign me up for the food, right?
I know. So we always have fun too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here.
There was a question while you're looking that somebody asked about whether they can attend in-person graduation, and absolutely, please come. We love it. And as I mentioned, you can attend any event in person. You're not restricted as an online student. Come anytime. In fact, I had online students who would come to campus for certain things, and they would go reach out and meet me and other professors. And so you're welcome anytime. In fact, we'd love to meet you.
Yeah, I think that that's important. My time here with Suffolk has always been really, it's been highlighted that we really truly, I mean, it's a different format of learning,
Yes,
but it shouldn't be like a different experience, meaning you
exactly.
should still have access to all the resources and
Yeah.
all the networking and all the faculty. I would oftentimes have students ask me, can I come to campus and pop into a class? I don't know if that's possible. I don't think that it might be a little bit
That
disruptive,
part I
but
don't think you can do.
right.
I guess if you worked it out with a professor and you came to one class, you could. I don't know what value that would bring, but what
Yeah.
I see is that, sometimes people even meet with their teams on campus so that you have
The
access
library.
to the library, you have access to
Yes.
all the study carrels, and there's really cool space everywhere. So you can come anytime you want. You are a Suffolk student. And so while everything is completely available to you online, you also have the opportunity anytime you want to pop in.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Let's see if there's anything else. This is a good question. What are the advantages of having a specific concentration
Oh, yeah.
and or just the general content? I get that question all the time, just a general concentration where you can kind of customize it yourself.
So the way I look at it is, and I sort of talked about this earlier in the presentation, but let me clarify just a little bit because I think sometimes people aren't sure. First off, you don't have to decide on day one.
Yeah.
So what I usually say is do your first semester and taste test some of these classes. And if you like a particular one, maybe do a deep dive and do a concentration. But primarily when I advise students, what I'll tell them is that if you have a particular area that you want to do a deep dive, so for example, some people want to go into marketing analytics, or somebody else might want to do business intelligence, like business analytics, and they really want that, but they want to get a little more expertise, that's when you get the concentration. So as I mentioned before, a concentration is a market signal. It tells the market, whether that's your boss, whether that's a new employer, whether that's you doing informational interview, it tells them what you are interested in and the special skills that you have. If you don't care, or you are you just like to explore, then take all the other ones and do a little bit of here and a little bit of there. A sustainability class here and a business intelligence class there. We have begun in the fall. I think I mentioned earlier that everybody has to take a business analytics course, but you get to choose which functional area you want to take it in. You can take the one that's general, or you can take the one that's healthcare, or the one that's accounting or finance, whichever one you want. You just have to take one. And that's because, of course, as you probably all know, analytics is everywhere now. And so it's just a necessary part of business.
Okay. Wonderful.
There was also one more question I saw on additional courses. It's in the chat area.
Oh, for students who have a degree not related to business, do we have to take additional courses on top of the MBA courses?
Yeah. So the answer to this is that, so when you think about that range of credits, we talked 36 to 51, that upper end is when you don't have the business undergraduate and you're taking the full range. When I was talking about business fundamentals earlier, that is the part of the curriculum that is waivable. So that if you think about it as, if you don't have a business background, then you're not waiving those courses. If you do, then you're waiving them, and then the number of classes that you have to take is reduced. So it's not that you have to take more courses, it's just that it's reduced if you are waiving those classes. And that's really because we get a lot of people that say took engineering as undergrads, or psychology, science, or something like that. And so if you, any science, right, if you really do need the fundamentals of business. You need to be able to have the vernacular around accounting. What's profit and loss? What's how do I do debits and credits? And it's not like you have to be an accountant, but you have to be able to speak that language, because A, that's the expectation of people when they see MBA on your name, but B, in business, I've been in business my whole career, you have to be able to think about this. Like, so for example, I run my own business in addition to working at Suffolk full time. And, we're constantly looking at, right, let's compare our revenue versus our profit. Now that is, if you don't know business, you may not understand how nuanced that is, but yet that's a key ingredient in our decision-making process. So these are the things, these fundamental skill sets and understanding and knowledge that you need if you don't have that background.
Well, and I want to build off of that too, because I think a lot of times when people are comparing and contrasting programs and schools, as adults, I like the fun part that you brought up with Singapore and the food, but I would say as a single mom going back for an MBA, it's not the most fun thing. It's stressful. We're adding more to our plate, but it's also really important to note that, hey, maybe the quickest isn't the best. Maybe it's also about the end result and the quality of the education that you're completing, right? So
Correct.
yes, there's going to be shorter programs out there, but are they going to be creating a strong foundation for you to build off of so you can be a stronger leader once you're done? I think that's important too.
Well,
so,
I think building on that, Angela, I think is really important. So at the end of the day, I always tell people that, I was talking about concentrations being a signal, that MBA is also a signal to the marketplace, whether that's your boss or your boss's boss or your boss's boss's boss. They have an expectation of certain understanding. And you can rush through a program and then you have those 3 letters, and then you go into a presentation and they ask you a question and you don't know the answer because you took a very fast MBA. You're going to have to live with that. And now your credibility's gone, versus you invest in this stuff up front. And now you've got the facility with the knowledge and the skill set. Now you don't feel like, you're not at risk of losing, the investment really pays off at that point, because they're like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. And now that those 3 letters have meaning for you.
Well, and on top of that, you have a portfolio of clients that you've worked with and problem solved for that you can bring to the table when you're up for a promotion or up for a new position and everything as well. I feel like how we do these. I feel like I can talk all day with you. So
I know.
So in the respective time, I think what I'd like to do is go ahead and transition more into like the admissions EA side of things. If you're more than welcome to stay, totally up to you. And maybe add some things too, but just again in the respective time. So a couple of questions that we have from an admissions standpoint is one of the questions was, am I still eligible to apply if my GPA is below a 3.0? So yes, you are more than welcome to apply regardless of your GPA. Our acceptance committee, which is made up of several different people, consider everything very holistically. So it's kind of like the MBA. The work that you put into your admissions file is the result that you're going to get out, right? So absolutely, if your GPA is below a 3.0, you have great work experience and you're willing to put the work into it, my recommendation is to have a conversation with one of us first in admissions, but definitely consider applying.
And Angela, let me just pop in here a little bit, because I often look at those. So I look at a lot of the exceptions. And so I'll tell you what I'm looking for. I am looking for somebody who's got some experience. So if you don't have that 3.0, I'm looking for the level of experience. I'm looking for how long it is since you've done your undergraduate. I'm looking for, a couple paragraphs as to why, what happened with your GPA. A lot of times what ends up happening is we get people who are 5-8 years out and they're like, look, I grew up. And so we take that into account. So if that's you, then tell us who you are today, because that GPA is a snapshot of you at a very particular piece of time. And, everybody's got their moment. So just give us that holistic view of who you are, the impact that you want to make, the impact that you've made, and then we can look more holistically about that. I think it really makes a difference if you can tell us, if you pop off that video or you pop off that essay, and then we can really understand who you are, and that'll help us make that decision.
Absolutely. There's like a few more questions too. I'm trying to pick like ones that I think would be great for everybody. How long does the application process take? So while students are thinking about that application deadline, and that's to apply by, not to finish your admissions file by, which is August 17th, it's important to note that Tom and I will get you through the application process, and the expectation is to complete it within a 2-week time frame. Sometimes the biggest holdup can be your letters of recommendation. So when you're requesting those letters of recommendation, I wouldn't request the minimum. I would request the minimum +1 for a backup plan. But you do want to make sure to let your recommenders know that there's going to be a file completion deadline goal that we're going to be working towards. And it's usually 2 weeks from the time that you start your application, just to kind of create some structure and expectation there. Do I have to register myself for classes? No. So going along with the Suffolk spirit of support, you are actually going to have a team of people that include obviously your professors once you start classes, but even before you start, you're going to have Tom and I in admissions. I always say we're your admissions coaches, getting you through this application process, creating that transparency, making sure that you know what's in, what's still remaining. Also kind of thinking ahead for you in regards to finances and getting you resources for that as well. Also, on top of that, you're going to have Jennifer. Jennifer Bellin is your student success advisor. So once you've been accepted into the program, what's nice about her role compared to other programs that I worked with is she actually does the registration for you. So you don't have to worry about clicking into a student portal, trying to find courses, trying to see when schedules and prereqs. she's going to do that all for you. And then she'll consult with you and make sure you're comfortable with the degree plan that she's created and get you registered for your classes. And then you'll have your financial aid advisors and everybody that'll be signed to you. So there literally is, I'm not just saying that to say it, there's really a team of people that'll be there to support you. And last but not least, let's do one more. Does your program,
Angela, just real quick, I have to go, everybody, but it was wonderful to see you. Angela can take any questions, and if you'd like to talk to me, she can connect you with me, and I look forward to seeing you all in the fall.
Thank you so much, Jodi.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. And then I wanted to answer one more question here. How many hours a week should I anticipate to set aside for school? Last but not least, it's important to note this is a rigorous program. It's designed for those who want to continue moving up into leadership. So you do want to anticipate setting aside about 15 to 20 hours a week. Realistically, honestly, about 15 to 20 hours a week for school. So it's 1:01. So, okay, so we're 1 minute past. Hopefully we were able to answer all of your questions and give you some insight into our program. Per that connecting piece and that phone number, please make sure to reach out to Tom or I if you are interested, or if you have any additional questions. We'd love to support you. And thank you all for joining us today for Suffolk's online MBA Virtual Open House. Have a beautiful day.